welcome back to the Run Like a T-Rex YouTube channel. Been a little while since my last video, since the Two Castles vlog. Been nursing a bit of an injury, so I've just not been in a position to run, and I'm not training for anything, so running content would have been not only sparse but a little bit dull because I've got nothing to train for. However, I've kind of been bit of an update. Look, obviously, like most people looking at London Marathon, didn't get in. Have now applied and got into Manchester, which I'm really looking forward to. First marathon and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Will help some of the London Marathon FOMO that everybody gets when it's on. So I won't be able to deal with that because I'll be too busy pounding the streets of Great Manchester. Reason for this video is sort of on the topic of Good for Age. A bit of a hot topic with different timings and people having to feeling like they've achieved a good for age time only for it to get cut short. And we've had people in our club, for instance, miss out by a second despite being 5 minutes under the time they thought they needed, which is pretty rough going. So I've got a 3-point plan for improving good for age. I will caveat this by somebody who not only has never done a marathon, secondly, is nowhere fit enough for a good for age category. So by all means, if you think I'm way off, then feel free to enlighten me in the comments, because I'd be more than interested to hear other people's viewpoints. So the first one is, rather than having age gaps, I mean, currently I think London is 2 hours 55 for men between the ages of 18 and 39. I can't be the only one thinking that a 2:55 marathon is way more impressive at 39 than it is at 22. Call me old-fashioned. It's one of those. So, first point is, I think they should be age graded. So rather than having individual categories for certain times, you should have to hit a certain time for your age for the distance. So, for instance, it'd be, whatever, pick a number out, 75% age grade score, whatever that might be, or 80, instance, that's what you need to hit. That way, it's a bit more fair, because, I mean, you've got some of the categories, it just goes, you've got like a 21-year split. It just seems a massive disparity between the two. And also, some of the categories, you get up to I think it's 65 to 69 and then 70 to 74. There's a 1 hour jump, which means you could end up having somebody running, say, I think it's a 4:55 time or whatever it was. Depending on where the marathon falls, it could be a month either side. You could end up getting an extra hour or 1 hour less, purely on the basis of where your birthday falls in the marathon cycle, which just seems daft. I think, if you've got an age-graded score, it's going to be a little bit fair and broke down into individual age, per year. Probably a little bit fairer to do it rather than having big jumps up every, once you get past 39, I think it's every 5 years or whatever it is. So that's number one. Second one, I had this brainwave. I played golf at the weekend. So for those of you that don't golf, I think most people understand the handicap system, which is basically the amount of shots over par for a round you should get, essentially, for your ability level, based on your past experiences. But what they introduced a few years ago was a world handicap index system, which basically means you have a handicap index based on your ability, based on your home club. But that is assuming a difficulty rating of the club that you've done that at. So they have what's called a slope rating based on how difficult a course is. So for instance, if you shoot 18 over par at your local municipal, 30 quid a round to play, all that kind of stuff, that's one thing. If you shot 18 over par, the same score, but at Augusta on Masters Sunday off the back tees, that's a way more impressive feat in terms of the ability level, because the course is way more difficult, the greens are faster, they're more undulating, the course is way longer, rough's more severe. You get the idea. So it's based on complexity, difficulty, that kind of thing. I don't think it's beyond the will of man for us to be able to do that, in terms of, if you look at the stuff that Power of 10 and those sorts of things do in terms of ranking different events, why not have a course difficulty rating for marathons, for road marathons? So if you look at, say, something like Newport, very, very flat, bar the bridge you go over a couple of times. I think there's something like 10 metres of ascent or something across the entire marathon. It's pancake flat. So doing, say, a 3 hour, 3.5 hour time at there compared to, say, Langdale up in the Lake District, which is horrendous and has got something like over 1,000 metres of elevation across a marathon. They're not made different, you know, they're not even in terms of difficulty and the timings that you would expect to get there. Granted, most people that are going for good for age times are aiming for faster races to enable them to do that. But by having a slope system in terms of a difficulty and having a weighting, so, you know, you might have, say, a flat course might attract, say, 15, or, you know, or go the other way in terms of bringing your time down. So, say your chip time was 3 hours, 24 minutes and 5 seconds. However, because the course was difficult, they reckon it's added 20 minutes on because it's that hilly, you know, and it comes back down that way. That way you might end up with more entrants, more people trying to join in at other marathons other than like the bigger marathons might make the sort of lesser known events increase the amount of people taking part, which is all we want. We want more people running. Brilliant sport, brilliant community. So if we can do something like that, that would I think that would help, because people aren't going to have to specifically target certain events, because they're going to be able to run to the best of their ability, do the best time they can, and then it will go from there. That's, you know, and go from, I think that's a decent starting point to go from. Third one, this is probably going to be a little bit more controversial, but I think may help. One of the reasons that they're having to bring good for age times down is because of the sheer volume of people who are putting in good for age times, which is brilliant. It's showing that running, and, you know, I'm sure some people think it's all down to super shoes. It's not. You know, if you're running a 2:55 marathon, it's because you're fit and you're a good runner and you put a lot of work in. It's not because someone's put a carbon plate in your shoe. If you think that, then quite frankly, you're a moron. You know, you've still got to go out there and do the miles. So my one way to get around this is, if you do a good for age time at a race, that entitles you to one good for age entry. So you can't just say, I've done 2:50 at Manchester as a man. I'm 33, for instance. I'm not, and I'm definitely not doing a 2:50 marathon, just an example. You then pick which one of the, presumably the world majors, you're going to probably are a Boston, Manchester, New York, wherever, that entitles you to one, but you're guaranteed that. You don't do one marathon, get a good for age time, and then be able to, on the basis of a good time. You know, if you've done a great time, congratulations. But then you don't have the same amount of people who then putting in, you know, simplistically, that's going to take down what? A maximum of 1 in 6 is going to take down 6 entrants down to 1 entrant, because they're only going to apply for the one marathon. So rather than doing a really good time at a sort of a secondary marathon in the nicest possible term, and say, right, well, I'm going to now apply for a good for age category time at London, Tokyo, Berlin, Boston, New York, Chicago, and go for the whole sweep, because you know, you're in the financial position to be able to do that. You know, I'd quite like a chunkier air miles if you're in a position to be able to do that. But just do it once. That way you're going to open up more good for age categories. I think London has 6,000 as a cut-off. Well, if you do that, those 6,000 are only going to be able to run at London under their good for age time. So on for the other 5 of the 6 world majors. So yeah, that's kind of my plan, really. I think that would work, would be fair, would enable people to go and try different marathons and just give things a go, as well as open up some of the more good for age category races for other people. Yeah, so Tom at Masses, bless him, did 2:55.0 at Manchester last year, and then they announced the cut-off for London for this year, just gone, and he needed to get 2:54.59, so he was a second out. And it's just, I cannot imagine being that close to a good for age time. So, massive well done, Tom. That's an incredible time. Something us mere mortals can only dream of, but I can't imagine missing out on that. But he's missed out because there's been so many people applying through to Berlin, Chicago, all of them. So if you then take that away and say, right, you've done your one marathon, that entitles you to one good for age category. That seems fair to me. So yeah, let me know. Drop something down in the comments if you think that's a great idea, bad idea, or if I've gone off on a bit of a different tangent and you think that works in principle, but you need to adopt this X, Y, Z. I'm a relative newbie to running. Obviously never run a marathon. Not gone through the good for age process or anything like that. So feel free to enlighten me. I'm more than happy to listen and sort of learn. That's part. I've put this out for discussion as much as anything, really. Just rather than just saying this is my opinion and it's this is I've got it sorted, because I don't know jack. Let's be honest. So yeah, let me know. Hopefully next video I'll be starting a new YouTube series, which I'm really looking forward to. So I'll be announcing that on the day of when I next film. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you got this far, drop me a like, a comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm really close to 50 subscribers, so that'd be wicked if I could try and get to there. By August 1st is my birthday, so if you can get to 50 subscribers as my birthday present by the end of July, that'd be wicked. Yeah, have a good week. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope it's given people food for thought. I never thought of that. Or if I'm completely wrong, feel free to tell me so. Please be polite and not just call me a muppet. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.